Word Pathfinders, welcome. Always excited to be back. We hope that your business has been going well, you've been fine, you've been keeping safe. Last week, we talked about why your potential opportunity is not your business idea, why your product, or services, which is your value proposition, is not even your business idea. And we said that your business idea is your value chain architecture, how you create value in a cost-effective way, how you deliver the value, and how you capture value from the market. That is your value proposition. That is your business model. Today, we're going to be looking at the ways to evaluate and validate that you have a winning value proposition in the market. That's what we're going to be looking at today. How am I sure I have a game-changing product in the marketplace? And we're going to be looking at 10 ways to evaluate and validate that you have a winning value proposition in the marketplace. The first, we need to consider today is that, is your value proposition embedded in a great business model? That's the first thing we need to look at. Is it embedded in a great business model? Because without a business model of how you create the value, how you deliver the value and how you capture value from the marketplace, you don't have a business. So this is very key. We gave an example of Rolls-Royce last week. We said that Rolls-Royce has a great value proposition producing, the state-of-the-art engine for aircraft manufacturer. But what happened? He couldn't sell, the product. He couldn't be successful until they designed a service, model, business model. And when they started renting their engine on an hourly basis, and that's the model that changed the game for them. So your first way to evaluate whether you have a great value proposition is if your value proposition or your product or services is embedded in a great business model. The second one we want to look at is this. We ask the question, does your value proposition focus on the most important jobs, the most extreme pain and the most essential gain? Last week when we talked about, how you come about your value proposition, we said after the need identification, you need to do need decomposition. And one of the basic ways to decompose the needs or the pains or the needs you find in the marketplace is to decompose it into the job that the people want to do, the pains they are going through, and the benefit or the gain that they want to get. So what you find out is that after you have done that, you need to rank, those jobs, you need to rank those pains, you need to rank, those gains. And that's how you come up with, the most important job, because you don't have the capacity to meet all the needs of your customers in the marketplace. So you need to rank it. What is the most important job? What is the most extreme pain? And what is the most essential gain? So the question you need to ask yourself is that you need to find out after you have ranked those jobs, after you have ranked those, those pains and those gains, which one is the most important, which one is the most extreme pain, which one is the most essential gain. So the question is that, is your value proposition, is your service, product and services, is it focused on meeting the most important job, the most extreme pain, and the most essential gain? That's the second way to validate that you have a great value proposition. The third way to do that is to ask yourself, does your value proposition focus on unsatisfied job, unresolved pain, and unrealized gain? Last week we talked about, if you don't want to struggle in the marketplace, you need to find out that you have something that differentiates you. So you are going for those needs that are not met. You are going to those unaddressed needs. So here we are saying that your job, the job that your customer wants to do, the pains they are going through, and the gains they are trying to do, is it that somebody else, is providing this service in the marketplace, or you have, or your product or service or your value proposition is focused on those unsatisfied jobs, jobs that your people are not satisfied doing because there are no provider out there that can satisfy them. Pains that are not resolved because there are no provider out there that can help them resolve the pain. And unrealized gain they are not realizing because there are no provider out there that is helping them realize it. Once the component of your value proposition has the unsatisfied job, unresolved pain, and unrealized gain, you have a game-changing, value proposition. So the fourth way to validate your value proposition I want to look at is to ask yourself the question, does your value proposition concentrate only on a few pain relievers and a gain creator? And does it do that extremely well? One of the challenges I've had in business and most people have going into business is to focus. Okay, we want to scatter our attention, we want to scatter our energy because we want to do so many things at the same time. But that doesn't help. So what you want to ensure is that there are few pain relievers, there are few gain creators that, okay, your value proposition, provide and does that extremely, extremely well. So the whole idea is mastery of few things, okay, instead of trying to do all the things, okay, trying to solve all the problems in the marketplace. Mastery of few things, okay, that your value proposition does and does it extremely well. That is what is more important, okay? The fifth way to do that, remember we are looking at 10 ways, okay, to evaluate and validate that you have a winning value proposition. So the fifth way is to ask yourself, does your value proposition addresses functional, emotional, and social jobs altogether? Oftentimes, what people concentrate on is the functions of their product, okay, the functional jobs, what their product can do. But beyond the functional job, what the customers want to satisfy is actually their emotional job, okay, and their social job. So you find out that once you get those right, you are going to, make a difference in the marketplace. I give you an example. Functionally, every smartphone can do about the same thing, okay, but you find out that, okay, some people want to carry, iPhones because of the social implications. There are social jobs, okay, that iPhone will do for them. It makes them belong, it makes them feel that they are part of the class. This is very important in your consideration when you develop your value proposition. People are not only going to, okay, want their, your phone to perform or your value proposition to perform very well. They want to be sure that it's meeting their emotional needs, it's creating the kind of social status that they want out there. So it's very important that you ensure that your value proposition addresses both the functional, emotional, and social jobs that your customer wants done. Okay. So the sixth way to look at it is that, does it align with how customer measures success? Oftentimes, for most business people, they want to determine what customer want themselves instead of asking, okay, what customer want. So the question is that, how does your customer measure success? Okay, you are not the one that will measure the success of your value proposition. You need to go to your customer. You need to make sure that your value proposition align with how your customer want to measure, because eventually, it is his or her success. So he's the one that will measure how, okay, your value proposition is successful for, to them or not successful. You are not to measure it. So you need to make sure that you find out and you align your value proposition with how your customer measure, success. The seventh way to look at this is that, does your value proposition, does it focus on the jobs, on the pains, on the gains that the large number of customers have? That's one way to look at it. So you must have a huge market size, for you to be able to be successful. But if you don't have adequate market size, it must be the other way. It must be that you have a small number of willing people who are ready to pay premium, who are ready to pay a lot of money for your product. So it's either you have a large number of customers that have those needs and want to have those jobs, they have those pains, or you have a small set that want to pay so much, okay, for what you have. If you don't have the adequate market size, okay, you will not be able to generate enough revenue, okay, to meet, okay, the cost of creating those value proposition. In that case, you don't have a sustainable business. The eighth way we want to look at is this. Does it differentiate, okay, does your value proposition differentiate from competition in a meaningful way? I use phone as an example again. Okay, iPhone and Samsung are in competition. But when you want a phone that has quality camera, all right, you can count on Samsung. So what Samsung use to make sure that they differentiate themselves, one of the things rather that Samsung use to ensure that they differentiate themselves adequately in the marketplace is the fact that, okay, their camera, okay, is second to none. All right, the camera is, so that's one way that they differentiate themselves in a meaningful way. So you must have one way to differentiate yourself. What unique selling proposition that you have that the other provider of your value proposition does not have. The ninth way to look at it is to look at and evaluate your value proposition is, does it outperform, competition substantially, at least in one dimension? So there must be one way that you are performing better, okay, or your value proposition is performing better than all the competition in the marketplace. And lastly, okay, what is there any entry barrier? Is your value proposition easy or difficult to create? If it is easy to create, that means the entry barrier is very low. And before you know it, what happened? The money back will come into your space and chase you out of the market. So when you have a value proposition that is difficult to copy, very likely, okay, you are going to maintain monopoly for a longer while. And that means that you're going to sustain your business for a longer while. I hope this was useful. Please, if you find it useful, I want you to share it in your network. And if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I want to encourage you, to click the subscribe button now, okay, and ensure that every time we release a new video, you will be the first person or one of the first people, okay, that will see the content that we are sharing. Thank you for your time, okay, and I hope to see you next week. Have a great week.